Rust is a versatile game. You could go from dying to a crane at a junkyard to waking up at a rave in the middle of the forest with dozens of people. A large portion of whether or not you have a good or bad time playing Rust kinda depends on the server that you choose to play. And in this video, we're gonna go over everything that you need to know to do that correctly. The chapters are timestamped in the description below, and while you're down there, if you would like to help me jumpstart my brand new Twitch account, the link is in the description, as well as an invite to my Discord to get notified when I go live. So we can speedrun a couple things for the new players that are watching this video. When you click on play game, this is where the server list is located, and it's going to automatically place you in the official server list. And at this point, a majority of players are just going to sort it by player count. But there's a few things that we can do real quick to make sure we don't waste our time on a bad server. If you scroll down on this part right here, there's some very useful filters like being able to select your region. Sometimes server owners don't mark the region of their server, and this number is not always updated correctly that you see on the right side. Modded servers in Rust can be very over the top, so I like to click this vanilla tab when searching for modded servers to get better results. There can be some pretty big groups in Rust. I'm talking like in the hundreds sometimes that'll play together in the same clan. And there are servers that will limit the size of the teams allowed to play on there, and I'll show you another way to check that later on in the video if it doesn't say it in the title of the server. Also, side note, keep in mind that if it says noob friendly or Rust for noobs, it's probably filled with a bunch of tryhards picking on noobs like Smurfs do in other games. And the last thing you want to do to make sure that you found a good server to play on is check the last time that it's been wiped. In Rust, there are server wipes, and they happen periodically, and they're controlled by the admins that run the server that you want to play on. So basically everything resets in the game and it all starts all over again. These usually happen monthly, bi-weekly, or weekly, and most of the time it happens on a Monday or a Thursday, but there are some like Tuesday, Friday, Saturday wipes. You'll just have to check that number that you see right here. This website is pretty sick. I'll leave a link to it in the description below, and you can sort it by the size of group, the region, the type of server, if it's got a good rating or not. And then you can click on extended search to get some advanced options. And what you're going to do in here is go to the current players and raise that up. A good amount of players is like 70 to 200. If you're a more experienced player, you can raise this number up higher. But if you're newer to the game, you want to keep this around 100 players is like a good amount. This is also a good discoverability tool to look for servers that have 30 to 80 pop that might break out in the future. And another setting is the map size. Most maps are around 4,000. So if you're looking for a smaller map, drop that down to like 3,600, 3,200. And then another cool filter is the max group that allows you to set the team UI limit. And then if you scroll down and click search wipes, you will be met with a different list of results than you would otherwise be able to find easily in the game itself. What I like to do after I found a server that I'm considering playing is take it into battle metrics if I'm unfamiliar with it. Sometimes the players on a server will just not play it tomorrow, and you might want to play it for the whole week. You can kind of guesstimate if the server is going to die or if it's going to continue throughout the week or month that you're playing by scrolling down and looking at the 30-day and 3-month charts. The 3-month chart gives you a nice heat map that you can look at to tell when the server wipes and how long the server is usually populated after that wipe. Another really cool thing is that it links to this other website where you can look at the map of the server that you're going to play on. And you can do things such as look at the monuments, what you want to build next to before you join the server, and this really cool feature of clicking nodes, which then shows you where the resources spawn at on the map. So you can decide with this information where you want to build at, what monuments you want to run, where you're going to spawn at when you first load into the island, and you can kind of map out your strategy before you've even loaded into the game. I've got some server recommendations for you guys from myself and my friends Rainbirds and Seabass to help guide you before you go out on your next Rust adventure. I'll leave their social media links in the description below. If you ever have any questions for them, go reach out to them there. I'm sure they'd love to hear from you guys. These first couple servers are basically filled with a bunch of mini games where you can practice the game, practice mechanics of the game, and things like that. UKN is one of the very popular ones where you can go to train your aim and play against other players in a more fast-paced manner. UKN also has their own build server where you can go practice your base designs. The UKN training ground is where I spend a lot of my time outside of regular Rust servers. Once you've loaded in, there's like a bunch of text everywhere, and when you run into it, you can interact with it, or it'll just load you in, or it'll put you in a queue. This one is called Scrims, and you basically 1v1 people, 2v2 people, whatever option you've selected, and it's a good way to practice your guns. You can choose which guns you want to queue up for as well. And my favorite thing to do on the server is play the gun game. You basically get to practice each gun in the game, and you start off with the worst one and work your way up to the best one. It's very fast-paced, and you'll get a chance to experience most of the guns that are in the game. Tommy Guns is another server like this where it's got a bunch of mini games in it, aim train things, but they've got a more unique variety of experiences. I like the Frag one. There's also a Bed Wars if you're into that. Builder's Sanctuary is the worst build server in the game and also the best one. It's just super laggy. A lot of the plugins don't work half of the time, but you're not going to find plugins like that anywhere else. A good backup build server to have is the Intoxicated Sandbox server or the UKN one like I was showing you earlier. Koala Copters is a really fun place to practice flying. There's a lot of vehicles in the game and they're pretty difficult to fly, so you can head on over here. The commands are up in the top left of your screen, but more often than not, you're just gonna type /mymini or /nomini. And then this map is custom as heck. It's got a bunch of things that you can practice flying through, flying around. And if you die, you'll just end up right back at the center of the map. If you're looking for a more chill experience in Rust, it's called PVE. And a lot of the times these will also be roleplay servers. The top recommendation that we have for you guys is the Method server. A lot of my friends that I know play on here, like DaVinci and Monstera, that make the most amazing art, and they do it in game. It's basically like using MS Paint. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And if you'd like to go check out some of their amazing artwork, I've got both of their channels linked in the description below. A lot of people are unaware of the fact that Rust has the potential for a lot of creativity, and a lot of that is expressed on these PvE servers. If that's something that interests you, I'm going to rapid fire off some PvE server recommendations. We've got Battlezone, which has skill trees and additional enemies at monuments. Rust Empires, where they have quests, an arena, and special events each month. Haunt PvE, where there is no PvP and it is enforced by admins. There's server events and it features a haunt shop with test generators and skins that are otherwise inaccessible, and you can pay scrap for recyclers or tugboats. Skyline PvE, where there is also no PvP and it's enforced by admins. There's no decay besides Twig. There's a purge at the end of every wipe, meaning that you can raid and kill only during that time. So this is a good place for testing out unconventional builds and learning the monuments in the game. And lastly, there's Rust Easy, which has a plugin on the server that completely disables PvP, and they've also got servers across the world. There's no decay at all, no damaging buildings. You can purchase pump jacks, but it's a little laggier than the other servers. That's all I got for you guys in this video. Thank you if you watched it all the way through. Please subscribe if you want to see more content in the future. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Leave a dislike if you didn't, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.